Imagine this. Tonight, while you're sleeping, someone quietly turns off your heater. Then they take away your blanket, your warm clothes, your food. Even the walls around you disappear. Now, you're standing completely exposed in the middle of an endless frozen wilderness. The temperature is minus 30 degrees Celsius. A freezing wind slices through your skin like thousands of tiny knives. Every breath burns your lungs. Every second, your body loses more heat. Within hours, your heart begins to slow. Your muscles refuse to move. Your thoughts become confused. And before the sun rises, you're dead. Now, here's the terrifying part. For hundreds of thousands of years, this wasn't a nightmare. It was reality. Your ancestors didn't survive one terrible winter. They survived thousands of them. Long before heated homes, before jackets, before supermarkets, before electricity, before civilization itself. Humans faced winters so brutal that even one mistake meant death. So here's the question. How did a nearly hairless ape from the warm forests of Africa survive the deadliest winters Earth has ever seen? Because on paper, we never should have. We don't have thick fur like wolves. We don't have blubber like seals. We can't hibernate like bears. Compared to the animals around us, humans were weak, slow, fragile, and completely unprepared for the Ice Age. Yet somehow, while countless powerful animals disappeared forever, our ancestors endured. And because they did, you're alive today. But surviving winter wasn't about being stronger. It wasn't about being faster. It wasn't even about being lucky. It required a series of incredible discoveries, each one solving a problem that could wipe out an entire family overnight. Lose one, and you die. Miss one, and your blood freezes before morning. But the first challenge was more terrifying than the cold itself. Because before humans could build shelters, before they could make warm clothing, before they could hunt safely, they had to protect one tiny glowing object that decided whether they lived or disappeared from history forever. Fire, and keeping that fire alive, was one of the greatest survival battles in human history. Imagine staring at the last glowing ember. It's no bigger than your thumb. Its orange light grows weaker and weaker until it finally disappears. Silence, darkness, cold. Today, that wouldn't matter. You'd grab a lighter, strike a match, or press a button. But during the Ice Age, losing your fire wasn't an inconvenience. It was a death sentence. Without fire, there was no heat, no hot food, no safe drinking water, no light after sunset, no protection from wolves, hyenas, or cave lions lurking in the darkness. One freezing night could wipe out an entire family. That's why your ancestors didn't simply use fire. They protected it like their lives depended on it. Because they did. For decades, scientists believed Ice Age campfires were nothing more than simple piles of burning wood. But archaeology revealed something astonishing. In present-day Ukraine, researchers uncovered carefully designed fire pits, built with surprising engineering. Some burned at temperatures above 600 degrees Celsius, hot enough to harden wooden tools, cook large amounts of meat, and keep families alive through freezing nights. But there was one problem. During the coldest months, wood became incredibly scarce. Huge areas of the Ice Age were frozen grasslands, with very few trees. So what happened? When there was nothing left to burn, most people would assume they simply froze. They didn't. They found something else: the bones and fat of the animals they hunted. After bringing down a mammoth or a giant bison, they wasted almost nothing. The thick animal fat burned slowly, like a natural candle. Even dried bones, rich with marrow, could feed the fire for hours. To them, every hunt wasn't just about food. It was also about fuel. Every successful hunt meant another chance to survive the winter. But keeping the fire alive wasn't enough, because the moment they stepped away from those flames, the cold attacked again. Imagine leaving your shelter before sunrise. The wind instantly steals the warmth from your skin. Your fingers go numb. Your face burns with freezing air. The fire can protect your home, but it can't follow you across the frozen wilderness. So humans did something no other animal on Earth had ever done. Instead of growing thicker fur, they borrowed it. And that single idea would completely change the future of our species. The moment you leave the fire, the countdown begins. Every freezing gust of wind pulls heat away from your body. Within minutes, your fingers become stiff. Your feet lose feeling. Soon, even thinking becomes difficult. The cold isn't just outside you anymore, it's inside you. So imagine killing a massive reindeer or a giant bear. Most animals would simply eat the meat and leave the rest behind. Humans didn't. They looked at that lifeless body and saw something far more valuable than food. They saw a winter coat. At first, people simply wrapped animal skins around their shoulders. It helped, but it wasn't enough. Every gap let freezing air rush inside. Every loose edge leaked precious body heat. A single mistake could still mean death. Then, around 30,000 years ago, humanity made one of its greatest inventions. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't the wheel. It was something so small it could fit in the palm of your hand. A sewing needle made from bone, or mammoth ivory, with a tiny eye carved into one end. It looked simple, but it changed everything. For the first time, people could stitch animal hides together, making clothes that actually fit the body. Tight sleeves, closed seams, layer upon layer, trapping warm air close to the skin. It was the difference between wrapping yourself in a blanket and wearing a winter jacket. Some scientists believe this tiny invention gave modern humans a huge advantage over other ancient human species, because better clothing meant surviving colder winters, and surviving colder winters meant spreading into places no human had ever lived before. But they didn't stop there. Soft deer hide became waterproof boots. Fur-lined gloves protected frozen fingers. Animal sinew became strong thread. Nothing was wasted, not even animal fat. Before long hunting trips, many Ice Age hunters rubbed melted fat over their faces and necks. It created a protective barrier, blocking icy winds from stealing body heat. But winter had one more invisible trap, one that could leave even the strongest hunter completely helpless: the snow itself. Fresh snow reflects almost 90% of sunlight. Hour after hour, that blinding white glare burns your eyes. Eventually, you can't see. You're lost, alone, and almost certainly dead. So ancient hunters invented something extraordinary. They carved thin slits into pieces of bone or wood and tied them across their eyes. Tiny openings blocked most of the blinding light, while still allowing them to see. Thousands of years before sunglasses, humans had already invented their own version. They had solved the problem of clothing. They had solved the problem of blindness. But another question remained. Where could anyone sleep when the world itself had turned into a frozen desert? The answer was more unbelievable than anyone expected. Some families built their homes from the bones of giant mammoths. When most people imagine Ice Age humans, they picture them hiding deep inside dark caves. But the truth is far more incredible. Many families had no caves at all. They lived on vast, frozen plains where the wind never stopped and trees were almost impossible to find. So if there was no wood, how do you build a house? The answer was lying all around them: the bones of mammoths. Imagine standing beside an animal nearly 4 meters tall, weighing over 6 tons. Now imagine using its skeleton to build your family's home. It sounds unbelievable, but archaeologists discovered exactly that. In present-day Ukraine, at a site called Mezerich, scientists uncovered circular homes built almost entirely from mammoth bones. Massive skulls formed the foundation. Huge leg bones supported the walls. Long curved tusks created the roof's frame. Then everything was covered with thick animal hides, moss, mud, and packed earth. These weren't random shelters. They were carefully engineered to trap every bit of precious warmth. Some houses were even built partly below ground. Why? Because the earth itself acted like a giant blanket, protecting families from the freezing wind above. But the most brilliant idea was hidden at the entrance. Instead of building a flat doorway, they dug the entrance lower than the sleeping area. Cold air is heavier than warm air, so every time freezing wind rushed inside, it stayed trapped near the floor, while warm air remained where the family slept. Thousands of years before modern insulation, Ice Age humans already understood basic physics, and they became even smarter. When heavy snow covered the shelter, they didn't always remove it. They left it there, because snow isn't just cold. It's an incredible insulator. Even if the temperature outside dropped to minus 30 degrees Celsius, inside the shelter, it could stay close to the freezing point, warm enough to survive. But surviving one night didn't mean surviving the winter. Soon, another enemy arrived, one far more patient and often far more deadly than the cold: hunger. You can survive days without warmth. You can survive weeks without food. But during the Ice Age, winter lasted for months. And if your food ran out, no shelter on Earth could save you. So your ancestors came up with survival strategies that were as brilliant. Surviving the cold was only half the battle, because winter had another weapon, one that killed slowly: hunger. Imagine waking up after 3 days without food. Your children are too weak to stand. The snow outside is waist deep. Every animal has disappeared. Every berry bush is buried beneath ice. Every mistake brings your family one step closer to death. So Ice Age humans learned a lesson that still keeps us alive today. Prepare long before disaster arrives. Whenever they brought down a mammoth or a herd of reindeer, they didn't celebrate. They got to work. The meat was cut into thin strips, smoked over slow fires, or dried in the freezing air. Winter itself became their refrigerator. Some archaeologists even found evidence that people stored heavy cuts of meat in icy ponds, where the freezing water helped preserve it for weeks or even months. Nothing was wasted. The meat became food. The fat became fuel. The bones became tools, weapons, and even homes. Every single part meant another chance to survive. But hunting wasn't just about strength. It was about planning. Groups worked together, driving entire herds of horses or reindeer toward cliffs or into natural traps. One successful hunt could feed dozens of people. One failed hunt could mean starvation. And that's why no one survived alone. Families lived together, shared food together, shared body heat together. At night, dozens of people slept close to one another, not because they wanted comfort, but because every human body produced heat. Together, they became each other's heater. Alone, many would have frozen before morning. But survival didn't always bring out the best in people. Sometimes, it revealed the darkest side of humanity. Archaeological evidence shows that during periods of extreme starvation, some ancient humans resorted to cannibalism, not because they were monsters, but because they were desperate. When every source of food disappeared, they faced an impossible choice: die or do the unthinkable. It's a chilling reminder that survival has no easy rules, and yet, despite freezing winters, constant hunger, deadly predators, and impossible odds, they endured. Generation after generation, they refused to give up. Every winter they survived brought humanity one step closer to the world you live in today. So the next time you zip up your winter jacket, turn on your heater, or complain about the cold, remember this: those simple comforts were paid for by thousands of generations who fought the deadliest winters in human history. If just one generation had failed, if just one family had given up, your story might never have begun. Your ancestors didn't conquer winter because they were stronger than nature. They conquered it because they refused to stop adapting. And that may be the greatest survival story ever told. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what ancient survival challenge should we uncover next?